Okay, we launched Dudula, you know. It's just a few of us. We're planning a march. First march when I was in 2021, May. You know, we found out Dudula, ne? We shebelletse TV, hodlala ditaba. And then boom. LUX has an interview. Omo paneling. Obuella Dudula. But this guy didn't consult. What is he going to say? We don't even know. So we had those problems. That's why we had to release him and like, because and you know, unali beta, you know, modi podcasting zeding ramutlo re bua hampi, mahotmani ana limona, but they've always wanted to become a political party, which is a lie. And I wish one day he will go out there and tell people who gave him the platform to General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi had, you know, outspoken. That guy.
Sure.
And Onalingzebe.
Sure.
We have corrupt politicians, and we've been saying this, we can't be fighting crime and then there's definitely something wrong. You would have seen go Rosettenville when we done that hijacking building operation. We literally fought Limaponesa because they got an instruction or they must stop that operation. So Harina a working relationship looking for a Zimbabwean guy or appealing his brothers and sisters because Babatla Khutlela Haye, Baloi gets at the business. So when they started collecting money, you know, amongst themselves, they grouped themselves and collected money so that they can go back home. So Bashapile, this guy. Nkile Chelete, Abashapa, so Bamata, and more country Yarona, this guy. So I'm busy. She was confused. So people went to go and vote PA
all over
through all ballots. But here we were happy because we thought we were working together. After elections, Babalia, they changed some.
Mashani Political Incorrect, I've got this lady. She's the new mama action of South African streets. I've been looking for her for over, it must be 2 years now. I've been hunting you. Of course, I found people around her and they availed her. She's going to tell us her name, where she comes from, and hopefully she'll dispel all these things that we've been hearing and many more. Commander, it's a morning.
Morning, Commander. No, repeat,
man, welcome to Pitori. We call it Pirara here. Yeah, so we host a lot of people from Soweto who tells us stories about you and others. Tell me, your name, surname, where you from, where you raised, and what formed this kind of hardcore street politics?
Thank you so much for hosting me today. I mean, it's an honor.
Thank you.
To be in Pretoria, especially in your podcast. But my name is Zandile Dabula, and I was born and bred in Diepkloof. It's in Soweto. Kasi girl, you know, nothing hectic. Grew up in a 3-room house with my mom, single parent. My siblings, unfortunately, they both passed on, and but I think that's where the courage started from. You know what? I must really work hard for this queen that actually brought up the lady who I am today. But yeah, you know, by God's grace, we are trying. Sure. But yeah.
You didn't say Diepkloof ke sabab.
You know,
I don't know. You must tell us.
You know.
Diepkloof ke sabab.
I mean,
yeah.
It's in the township, but
so in Soweto lingo, uchis girl ya Soweto.
No man, ngwanyana ko kasi. I wanna cheese girl. Ngwanyana ko kasi.
Okay. And then, what shapes your politics?
So if you know, we started a civic movement.
Sure.
And you know, for I think 4 years, we ran as a civic movement for about 3 years. Because you know, when it started with this thing.
Okay.
with my partner,
Yeah.
Kruger Solomon Kekan, who happens to be one of the founding members. By the way, Operation Dudula founders is myself, Solomon Kekana, and a gentleman by the name of Robert Klaba, who, left us a few months after the formation. So this thing, Hanse Ikala Rabona man, right man, not a problem. We go to restaurants, we're being served by foreigners. But we go to schools, the mistress ki di foreigners, whether legal or not at that time.
Sure.
But it becomes a worrying factor. But now I was not involved with the struggling, and I was not even an activist at that time. Naneki perekela from the corporate world, officing, But one thing that I was doing, I was helping batho ba leng hore they are challenged physically, mentally, because I'm about to spani. That's what I was doing for my community. But Solomon, on the other hand, Kruger, utoko exile. What do you understand? And so then I get understand no man, yeah, I won't have this. I'm like, dude, I get smooth nyana, utwa phela utwa ko hlatsing wa di bona ntshotse ho rona ko country ha re le ko country tsa bona ne re na le di permits ne re sa tsamai fela le fela nje, so it means mo country ya rona ona order. Then he phoned his guerrilla, the guy comes to our home. It was in the morning, make tea, and then they start discussing like, no, guys, say, come, let's do this. Get the formation of Operation Dudula in our home.
Yes.
And little Robert, why bonnet this thing, problem. And then we started phoning Bo Peter Dimba, because Bo Peter Nzerimatali Bona Vele from Kale. Or you know what? Let's organize communities, but organize about, because this thing is a burning issue. I mean, we're looking at the unemployment rate, number one in the world. Actually, crime they escalated, but at that time it was not as bad as it is now. So we are got tropong. How tsamaya? Firstly, hygiene. There was a time when really got tropong. Who do me o apeyang papa o fresha nama mo next door ya hae abutu kuta batho meriri he batho etsalang mo ha ba fetsa o hlatswa matso le bona batho ba rona ma South African ba reka ntso le jwale ke bona go ba tsolang ba ditse mo ditafuleng tseo
Yes.
a hlapa matso metsi a tsholwa hona mo tsona di bylaws o etsalang mo country ya rona ya senyega the buildings ai go fedi go rauli ko tropong o tla bo o kanje ke bo go understand go etsalang. Then ra bona re yes definitely hona problem. Started organizing ourselves, rabali meeting, so this was in 2021. And then 2020, about October when we started the discussion. 2021, we called the first meeting, big meeting, Kotiploof, and then that's where we started roping in Bongo from Kotiploof, with other comrades as well. And we started this thing. At that time, officing.
Sure.
Everything I take notes, and then I remind about Dan Khatebe, our former deputy chairperson. Every time we remind each other, we spoke about this, and this is how we're going to move. And then, okay, relaunch at Dudula, it's just a few of us. We're planning a march. First march when I was in 2021, going to the late Jeff Makur. How? Vet, a list of demands, we have a problem, and we want to help. I also be Operation Dudula at that time. We are just. We called it what we called it, but that didn't last because we needed like a proper name. We printed T-shirts, we marched, we called comrades, we marched, placards, we are tired of illegal migrants. And it was a successful march. We went there with a list of our demands. The city's buildings are dilapidating. We want to help you. How fitla ko tropong unaluba bonamus bontate ba rekisang di snacks. O tholenta fela nje o moholo wa mkhaba o ba ile fela mazimba i3 le di sweets tse 5 ko dimal box.
How sustainable this
Family
business?
how are you telling us to support a family how ka mazimba i5? Now when we started kicking that box kama classic di drugs, then that's when we rebon okay the problem ya di drugs, it's a huge problem. Human trafficking, Re buile ka yona, I don't know for how long, but nobody seems to, everyone's just taking it light. But our list of demands, we are saying to you, we want to help you. We are not fighting with you, but there's a problem, and it looks as if maybe Luna Halibon, but Rabon. We want to help. We were ignored. Not even called to the office, nothing. And then, we said, you know what, because we marched, we're not getting joy. Let's plan for a march. In actual fact, it wasn't even supposed to be a march. That day we planned because township economy is all in their hands. We organized June 16 because, history, June 16,
Sure.
everything turns a And then we planned June 16, like the whole country was on a standstill. There's this thing that's called Dudula. Barika June 16, Dudula ma foreigner. And because ki culture rona botaki. But already not kirizi, it's going to be that day. And a week before, we had a meeting of plenary called Communities No Tletse. That's when I think Mike Kumalo also came to that meeting. That's when we met him for the first time, because Monaco social media. And by the way, I must say this, sorry, Petrol Morona, because every time when we watched his videos, country avaya bafethu. A country avani busy niyapuza nan and rabona roki avaya vele, but somebody needs to stand up and do something about it. And we met Ike for the first time that day, and then some comrades, LUX, they introduced him as, a traditionalist, because at that time, unafihlile apere kubo ya Basotho, and we're looking at this young man, and then he's introduced to us, this guy who understand the youth better, and vele in the struggle, we don't need a by in your youth. So please, Zandi, keep this guy, he's your guy. And see how best to work together with him. Okay, no, you're welcome. Any inputs are more than welcome and all that. We show him Renali President, who is our deputy chairperson, and then we have Peter Dimba, our chairperson, and then we introduce LUX to everybody. And then, the day before, 15, June 16, when everybody was in that hype, I'm a foreigner, I'm a foreign. And then people started to loot, shops. And we had to do like a briefing of some sort. We are not saying we want to destroy things. But then that previous night, LUX met the boss at Pakistan, Somalians and all that. Baya ko yena ko ntlong ba lo etsa a media briefing hore ba sa batla di shop ko kasi yena he feels hore di shop di right the way dealing ka teng, so my foreigner must stay and then we must not add more shops. Bahlanya bathu ko Soweto ba re lo mfana nimthathapi dala sinibuza ngalo mfana.
Wait, you're mixing years. The first time you were doing a physical on the street thing was 2021. And then prior to June 16, where you were introduced to Mtantla, when is that?
It's
the following year.
Week before. No, it's the same year.
Yeah.
But it's a week before the June 16. So the formation, Tantla was not there. All our meetings, he was not there. He came a week before June 16.
Okay.
Where everything unfolded about Operation Dudula and all that. So it's who is this boy? Because I also got him meeting. We're starting getting calls. What's mfana or crew are getting calls? Or mfana or retlo gaming mfana or because why analima Pakistan? Direct. And because Kruger is that person who zamang who it's a shore, and because if there's no need, but how musugela or like born at the other side of
sure.
you. But he tries to mediate, or no, man, maybe Nasai Bui, he didn't mean it bad. And then he started making calls on my phone, and because now we're getting videos of Islima Pakistan, and he wants to justify it, but didn't make sense. But Kruger calmed down everything, and he's now scared to come to the big operation in June 16. Okay, but Kruger makes ways, calls few other guys who are waiting. So that everybody understand this is what he meant when he did that video. We did that. Oh, okay, LUX combat.
I was waiting for that transition.
Yes.
Yes.
So that transition happened within a week. Combat to say little commander, okay. Oh no, but oh well. I get the concerned military veterans within us.
Yeah.
Bo Kruger, bo Peter Dimba, bo Den, back into the combat and unfortunately not that time vele nikisa na yona attire bona they were wearing the patlo tse leng hore vele ki attire ya bona vele. How LUX comes in, Robin, okay. Oh, Ramshaba, okay, ke guy wa Kobo on. But okay, operation Baghdad. There's a place called Diploof, it's a drug den. That whole place it's we decide to go start the reload clean. But along the way, everything, foreign and but because LUX Ramon is that young guy, vibrant, that's when media captured him.
Yes.
Addressing about order and all that, which we didn't have a problem with that. Addressing Bamu capture more. And then he starts getting that attention from media. But we didn't have a problem. But Runa go to Dudula President structure. And we work as a collective. So any decision I cannot, even now today I'm a leader, but I still go back to them and consult her. This is what's on the table, let's discuss and then execute. And we've been doing that. But LUX failed to tell everybody where he is not the leader of Operation Dudula. Nere maile hore akate youth. But yanong hasa bono medium capture like yanong sadly famous it's LUX and you know what, I'm not jealous. We allowed him because he was good at what he was doing. But hey, he failed us because unasabu haya ko di interviewing. O founder at Dudula ne o shebelletse TV ho dlala ditaba. And then boom. LUX has an interview o mo paneling. O buella Dudula. But this guy didn't consult. What is he going to say? We don't even know. So we had those problems. That's why we had to release him and because and unali bita, mo di podcasting tse ding ra mutla re bua hampi mahotmane ana le mona, but they've always wanted to become a political party, which is a lie. And I wish one day he will go out there and tell people who gave him the platform to shine, who gave him the platform or batho ba bona re ntla LUX ke mang ska re money today I get high because re montshitse go Dudula. But he must just be honest and acknowledge or the people that made me shine is actually Operation Dudula and not the other way around. Because he had probably thought or ha tsama go Dudula itlo wa Dudula, but he didn't.
Yeah, hold it there. You always speak of him in singular terms. My commander utlile muthola alo one or utlile the so-called Parliament of Soweto, the Soweto Parliament.
So we didn't know about Soweto Parliament at that time.
Okay.
We've learned about it Hansa nako iya. Because when he introduced himself, obuile hore yena o na le something a etsang, but that focuses on youth.
Yes.
Mo Soweto.
Hence Kubo le Katiba.
Yes, but to me it didn't talk about politics or activism. It was just I thought he's doing it the tradition and about the culture what. But yes, we've learned where there's Soweto Parliament, but we didn't see it anywhere. That's why I say it's a Soweto Parliament because Riboni had Hanseria, Lena Anzabuwa Gayon, every time with the conversation in Utlanzabuwa Soweto Parliament, but never say it's Iberon.
Okay.
But Utlila Aliwan, and I would be lying if Kitlare LUX Utlileli a group of
parliamentarians.
Yes, that will have to assist Dudula. No, he was a one man. That guy's a one-man show.
Do you know other parliamentarians besides Ntlantla?
I think when Yanong has gained attraction through Dudula, that's when Aboni Hore tshwantse a di etse ko different provinces
Yeah.
go vacationing, because I know Hore there was one go East Rand, Katlehong, I think, but no utlwella fela hore go na le parliament, but it's something that didn't exist, to be quite honest. It was just a name, Jay,
Yes.
you know, just saying go na le Dudula go Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Mara o ibone Dudula go grounding. It was something like that. But yeah, Neserutwella ka Soweto Parliament, that's why we said, you know what, focus on Soweto Parliament. With Ntotsa how Rona will focus ka Dudula, because already you've tainted us. When all Dila lima Pakistani, and we've also learned hore ikarunal security li somebody bailing hore ke bona ba katang ma Pakistan. When Rona we are fighting on ma Pakistan, they must leave our townships. Yena bawa protect. Banel security company se katang ma Pakistan, and they getting paid for it. Bana ba rona ntse ba shwa. So we bona okay. Ha re sa bona ka leihlo le one yanong. But also we've also learned hore he was sent to infiltrate, because every time Atlanta, so he went the first time at Amaya, and you know azama ho tsamaya le batho and all that, but ba bona batho ra mo re latela moe. They came back. He came back the second time, akopa tshwarelo makgotmane, you know, how le ngwana wa paiza mo le mo ke kopa tshwarelo. Rona they always forgiving. Wa makomanda itu they are forever forgiving. They did that, Ramo forgiver. He came back. When he came back, he called mess ayenzeng damage was huge, because at that time
Yeah.
and then they started singing about Yenali Korea High started singing about him being the president, and there's no president at that time. We were a civic movement, we had a structure. Problem. He left, but he left with quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But along the way, Babona there's something wrong. I don't want us to dwell much on Tlantla, man. It's
Yes.
not important.
Yes, okay, it's fine, because I'm going to be told our machine Maraoka should have clarified that the July unrest. Okay.
Yes.
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 It bombs in KwaZulu-Natal. It comes to Gauteng.
Yes.
Maponya Mall becomes this big thing.
Yeah.
He becomes a national hero
Yes.
because of the narrative that he
Protected.
Yeah, that national key point
Yeah.
of Soweto. What was the story around that?
You know,
were you involved?
There's one thing I don't like about LUX,
Yeah.
is that he's not an honest man. He's not what people think he is. Now, project Yako Maponya Mall. In early project, yeah, there's a guy by the name of Sticks Li Tabang Muloi. It was their project. They decided, you know what? Because Runa community Runa Rerat, Rekasi Dumeli Hore, Mole Hulo Sinyeka, Batlo Hloka Mo ba rekang ko teng.
Yes.
So we'd rather make ways or protect Maponya Mall. And they went to him to say that, you know what, we're thinking of doing this, let's do it. And they all went. And, you know, Barfonela, we also went. We were there, Leron. We spent nights more and making sure Revele, how not distraction. And he started making phone calls, Botabang, inviting communities. And, you know, they did it well for the first day. They phoned us to come and join. We did that. We went. But media ya fitla hape. This guy, ya fitla media. Yanong hasa bua ka Botabang libo Sticks.
Yes.
The initiators
Yeah.
of this thing. Ke Tabang, Li Sticks, but we are working together. No. Ki hero yanong. LUX has protected Maponya Mall. That's a lie. He wouldn't have done it by himself. You know, it's just man.
I think people understand that he can't do it alone. I think maybe the difference, this is me just thinking.
Yeah.
I think the difference is because he did not acknowledge the organizations and the individuals behind one by one.
Yeah.
Maybe narrative changed and he hogged the headlines.
Yeah.
And maybe you would blame us, the media, and I'll be blamed myself.
Yeah.
If I go to someone, I would want someone who's going to speak.
Yeah.
You understand?
And unpack it to
Yeah, so I think he became a media darling because he would speak, he would throw bombs.
Yeah. That's him.
Yes.
I can really bomb ya kobona at 4:10. Indlu iwile.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But
So-
after that bomb
Yes.
that's when people noticed the man lo mfana lo is
there's
scam.
something wrong,
Is scam lo mfana lo. But you know, now I always acknowledge but ba ileng hore ba span like
Yes.
you know bo sticks have done a lot of work kokasi.
Sure.
Botabang they tried helping people out. But ba jwalo you must acknowledge ha batho ba thusa.
Sure.
But yeah, now batla unka the glory, aliwani,
Sure.
it's not the case. So now we are here for communities. That's why now you've never seen me always go to podcast, go TV, because you know I'm doing work. If I can give you the list of things that I have done,
Yes.
the list of people that I have helped, but today they have their homes back because of me. And I don't go out there and shine hey, because of I did it.
I want to get there. Were you involved when the alleged branch secretary of the EFF home was?
Yes.
You were involved there.
Yes.
And then, is it true that he's the only one who was incarcerated for that?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Because agree, you know, Vele, when you're in a struggle,
Yes.
they'll always want to target that one person.
Yes.
That's at the forefront.
Yes.
Like it happened June 16.
Sure.
When all of us were sleeping at home, the 15. Maponisa na re batla, a batla go tshwara. But shame, they managed to get this one guy, Iling Pongo.
Yeah.
He was arrested for inciting. Okay, so they wanted to charge him incitement.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened to LUX.
Yes.
But hey, go packing when Maponisa said you are not going there because we don't have a search warrant, what.
Yes.
And I forced her, you know what, let's go. So we went. And Harikanamol, he's not the only one that went inside that house. It's just Njehoriena, he was at the forefront because
Yes.
not Papa.
Okay.
So he was at the forefront. That's why they singled
Him out.
But all of us were there.
Okay.
So no tshwantse gantle if never batla o tshwara motho. No tshwantse ba re tshware kaofela. But also a re tsebe beef ya hae le malema hore ke eng because every time when LUX
Sure.
a bua a bula mlomo wa hae. He talks bad about Julia. So I also understand a little
Yeah.
bit. Beef ya bona.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why they just singled him out to say
Yeah.
that presella o hore
Yeah.
ke yena a keneng kontlong ya hao.
2 questions. Please answer them both. Now, is it true that it's a known community drug house? I'm just talking about the narrative. Of course, you can't prove it. Is it a known community drug house, that place that you guys invaded? And the last one is, as you close and come and talk about your business, was there a funeral after the bomb? Were family members of LUX involved? We just want these narratives for someone to tell us. What is it that you know?
So the drug house, we got a complaint
Yes.
from some community members that side, Kotop Centreville, or that house is a problem. That's why really we didn't just think of going there, but we did get
Okay.
a tip off for that house is a problem. So that's the reason why we went. And yeah, funeral.
For what you know.
Mashian. There's nothing like that. Nothing happened, Habantantla. You know, Ntantla is so good in creating stories. He's good
Yeah.
in whatever that he's doing, and he's smart.
Yeah.
But he's also smart in such a way, really propagandist
Yeah.
of some sort. Because how na bomb, Nisha Pile Habantantla. Haribuaka bomb. There's an explosion. It's a hitting Ko Springs. Where Lizamazama, I don't know if you've seen it. Lizamazama left explosives underground. This thing yabon. And I don't know what triggered it, but Ilya ya bomb and Yasinya limits around.
Oh, yeah.
So Habantla why highly bomb, Hushapeka fella, Konanyana, who crack a window next door, bomb I shapa ya shapa bomb,
Sure.
bomb ki bomb. So that was a lie. There was no funeral, nothing happened to Habantla. And that's why Gayton was sent to infiltrate Dudula because the whole minister, if you could remember, former minister, Peggy Taile,
Went to his house.
went to his house. Who's
To check guns and stuff.
I check the guns. Oh yeah, because LUX house is bombed. And you will never see them. But the whole
Yeah.
minister, I get to Cape Town or
Yes.
guy to LUX home. So Ndata was pushing an agenda, and I still don't know agenda early today, but that was a lie.
Talking about the police, it's a big political news today that involves
Yeah.
police. You have worked with police. We have seen how police, bakaujigela no, case in point is Tolan Kuma.
Yeah.
How do you guys work with police? Explain your operations and the work that you do. Now we are listening to you.
So the happiness in me today, after what General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi had outspoken.
Yeah.
Ubuyile, that guy.
Sure.
And Onalingzebe utlwile.
Sure.
We have corrupt politicians, and we've been saying this, we can't be fighting crime and then rilwanele maponesa arona. There's definitely something wrong. You would have seen go Rosettenville when we done that hijacking building operation. We literally fought Limaponesa because they got an instruction or they must stop that operation. So harina a working relationship Limaponesa. It's just that when we do our operations, we do it within the confines. So we'd go for Section 205. Section 205 ke haulo apply that you're going to have a march, we are playing a so, and then they approve you. And then that's when there'll be police visibility. But nje ba itshaba Dudula. Naturally haba re Dudula ia south. O tla thola maponesa a mangata o feta rona. So arena collaboration le maponesa. It's just by a mole to stop us from what we're trying to do, because even legal drugs saying how community illa e khona le drugs mole.
They don't go.
I get the law enforcers, because they are here. They need to act and make sure they deal with crime, because but they don't do that. That's why we keep fighting. We're pointing the plague at the criminal activities, but you guys don't do it. Communities, like the police station, they don't report crime. Since they do, you'll have all the excuses not to help communities. But halona le batla le khona o tlatsa dikoloi tse 100 just for Dudula fail. So there's no working relationship le maponesa. In actual fact, we fight a lot le bona because they don't want to do their work.
Clarify, sorry to clarify. He said he does not have a problem with illegal foreigners. And did you engage further after that to understand what does he mean?
So I asked him, are you telling me, you don't have a problem? Guy criminal.
Because you told them they are criminals.
Yes. When you come to this country,
yes,
you are a criminal already. You should be arrested and deported back to your home. But
Yeah.
because it's a banana republic, it's a lawless country, it doesn't happen. So and what Mkhwanazi had said today was just a confirmation why we fight Limaponesa. Because we fight Limaponesa because ababatlo is msebetu abona. But libona, shame. Some of them do speak out. Or you know what? Guys, what you're doing is good. If you don't do it, country ya rona vele ya tsamaya.
police.
Yes. But unfortunately, remember, we've signed an oath. High instruction ihlala from Kodimo. We must act.
We don't question the instruction.
You can't question it because remember, it would have been different if Kitlile at my own personal capacity. But I must act. That's the saddest thing. But what Mkhwanazi has done today was a confirmation of why crime is escalating and nobody's doing anything about it. Now we have immigration laws that nobody wants to entertain. Our enforcers, they're supposed to be acting on these things. I mean, I remember Khale, maponisa ne wana look ena fela ko di charateng. Bare kuna makrikamba, bathi kuna makrikamba. Ba search fela, and ne ba ba thola ko dintlong tse ding makrikamba. But hona no bare maponisa ba ba timile those powers hore ba ska dila ka ma foreigner. In order for them to ask a migrant who na pampiro not, they must have an immigration officer. Re tlo fetsa jwang ma foreigner are illegal mo country if that's the route we're supposed to take. I mean, there's just no will. There's no political will.
Say it again. I mean, I lived in uptown Josie. I mean, I lived in Hillbrow Berea. And we'd just be accosted in the street. We'll be asked papers without any immigration office. I mean,
but when was that? Baba Katile. So crime is also within that parliament. It's the criminals. And South Africans, we need to stand up and make sure because they're not making justice to us as South Africans. We are suffering. You know, every time when we fight for the people on the ground because they're the most suffering ones. The poor of the poorest, ke bona ba feeling pinch in everything that happens. Oh, Ndata Ramaphosa mo dulang ko teng, there's high walls. O tsamaya le ma security, I'm sure 100. Ha tsamaya na le escort ya dikoloi tse kae? More than 10 probably. Le dikuta on the side. So crime high feel. You know, even the minister, ha ba feel crime. And taba ya employment. We are the first in the whole world. Ke rona the highest. I'm sure they don't even need to work because some of them, they own businesses, selling comrade and all that. So feel. That's why this national dialogue. How ka check a list ele? I don't think there's anybody that's poor in that list. I'm looking at this and I'm like, Evat. But who nominated them? Who are they going to represent? Because you're supposed to take a layman. Listing issues affecting on a daily basis. So could you have 700 million? For what? How many people are homeless? List the RDP. Stagnant, see? But since 1996. Nothing is happening. Like habasana plan. They must just admit, hore. The only thing because President announced it when we were fighting the disposer shops in the townships. But said there's a budget of 500 million that's going to help locals. Harry bon rona so go rutlo ba re allocate to a jwang e tlo etsa eng but ra tseba go na le 500 billion. After 1 year down the line, if I deal a budget, Chelete has been split into this and that and that. But Barona, our own South Africans who needs it. I mean, Kruger received a call the other day. This guy, he's into, I think, automotive. The budget, President in Abuaka, because you guys were at the forefront of helping the SMMEs and the entrepreneurs more training. How do we apply? How do we get a piece? Yona. Since Barry promises has a by splitile to the provinces. So how thing this much? KZN it all this much.
Yeah.
And then Ritlo split there was nothing like that. How's our phone today? Bostela ndabeni ba wela sgwa se seng se segolo o kore ba vele ba renje tswa corona.
Yeah, there's something I don't understand. Maybe when you will, because sometimes when they say it, I think I understand, but the more I realize I don't understand. What is township economy?
So township economy, it's supposed to be empowering of Batubaruna Bamokas.
Yes.
So the businesses, those small businesses, and there's a chaltenga like Bodis Paza shop.
Billions in that industry.
Yeah. Bodis Paza shop, Baba the automotives, Bomakeniki, and also another Korobwaka township economy, it's not just about Spaza shop.
Yeah.
No, it's broad.
The car wash.
Yes. The
salons.
Yes, body salons and all that. It's that. They must be empowered because how ka checker. Kaufela industry eo. Bo batho ba etsang welding, ba etsang di-gate. It's part of it. That all is in the hands of foreigners.
They don't have a bank that takes care of financing those people.
So there is. Okay, well, there is supposed to be financing, but have I told you? Because firstly, there are too many red tapes. So a normal person, let's say for instance, Kinali Salon, I'm running my salon daily and having a bank account because we live from hand to mouth. I'm not saying but Baruna should not upgrade and buy two daily bonantote. But I'm from a township, Kiranela my own hair salon. It's like from hand to mouth because how can you buy two? 200 kinahana shabo for later kilo reka pofo so that kuntlung khono jiwa.
Sure.
I get. So that's how it has always been. Ya no wena how batla o ba financer. You want them to give you business accounts, bank statements,
Proof of residence.
of your office, or when they come, they want to see a proper, structured hair salon, which I don't have. I don't have because I don't afford it. Now empower me so that I have
Then I can
things
afford
in
it.
order. Then I grow my salon. I hire more people. Then you can start asking me for bank statement because I say holo. Then I have more customers, and then now I can start saving money, and then I can start, having a proper bank statement as an entrepreneur. But baba shabaka di red tapes. That's why Basai told you, they don't get it, and you wait, ne? Some of them have waited for 3 years. Chelete khutlele back to go treasury, and then utlo ba khona le budget. It's really budget, but to buy nidang chelete high fee ko bona. Why ba sa change system? Because babona the system that they are currently using, it doesn't benefit the people ba tshwantseng ba thole chelete. That's why ke re ba sana di plan, because they don't know what is it that they are doing. Ba tla o jetsa ka di policy what ha re sa batla ho bala yanong, ha re sa batla ho bua. We want action. Go to the township, find out what are the difficulties, what difficulties are they facing, and then work on that. If you have to start them, I know I don't want to talk about them, but there's a company that was supposed to work on empowering batho ba mokasi ka this township economy thing. But product ya bona ine sa thuse the locals, because tshwantse o be le stokvel. You must be a member of a particular stokvel before they can even look at helping you. Now, an ordinary person or running hair salon that can't afford 1,000 rand a week for join a stokvel, it means utswile already on the list. And we went to them and said, you know what, we want to help you. We want to go to communities. Excuse me, we want to go to communities. Really choose so that remitane halfway. Because habana chelete ya stokvel. Let's see how best do we help them. Let them join stokvel, but let's give them stock. So give them stock so that they are able to contribute that 1,000 rand week. Like profit, they are now running a proper business. Let them contribute the 1,000 rand. Then that 1,000 rand, ki hadi kopana kaofela tsa bona ba di 20, and then you're getting your 20,000 rand back every week. But haba mameli. It's like this thing abu comrade. It's a more deep blood lining tsa everything is a halanke abu comrade. How would like a different idea? You know what? Not because I'm on the ground. I'm coming to you. You know what? The best thing to do this is to do it this way. But because when we do it that way, how 10 million because like there's always corruption in everything. That's why country like it's said, I mean, it's alleged that the principal bathola bribe for bakenye bana ba maforena ko dikolong.
True story.
Somebody phoned us and said, principally at that school, o collecta chelete from maforena so that their kids can be admitted. So everything sebetsa ka chelete. That's not chelete mo country how much, and it's not supposed to be like that. So it's unfortunate remote situation in
Yeah.
but hey, big ups to General Nhlanhla Mkhwana. It looks like he's on the right direction.
Sure.
And he's going to lead us somewhere, to that, dreamland that we've always dreamed of for a country because the mere thing is that there must be law and order in this country. We're fighting against illegality. Yes, because they should know better when coming to a person's country. There's a way that you should conduct yourself. Bo krugali bo dimba habali go di country ntsabon. Neba dutse go di campo, go di kampong. Bona, they have been integrated, badula le rona go di kasi and all that. But ha ba re hlomphe. Instead, ba senya everything. Bona go tropong ho jwang.
Cheap.
the building diacha. Ibile bar ke rona ba re ba tjhesang, but the buildings diacha because ba ka gela mikhukhu o kilwa kena ko building ka mo ga building ke mikhukhu le mikhukhu how na order mo country like we are on autopilot. President ha bua ha qala bula mlomo ha tla o jetsa ka hore Dudula is a vigilante group. But South Africans today, I'm glad 5 years later ba bulehile mahlo.
Sure.
Ba bona hore this thing Dudula nentse e bua since 2021 re a bona ya no hore it's affecting us, like it's got a negative impact, this thing illegal migrants. And I'm glad the response, the support is like ba bona hore Dudula is the only party that will help us win this thing, because once we win taba ya illegal immigration, it opens up a whole lot of things. It's going to deal with the unemployment. It's going to deal with overcrowding mo dikolong. It's going to deal with system ya rona ya di healthcare facilities. Itlo ba normal. It's abnormal now. Everything is halang ko di department they're abnormal. Township economy but ba rona ba ko high, my South Africans are going to go back to their spaces. So if we can just tackle that one issue, a whole lot of things ditlo buleya, and dintho di tlo tsamaya in order, then re ka lo ba thusa ra ya ko bo Zimbabwe ra lo ba thusa le bona. We must fight your own government until you get it right, because we are heading there very phone and they want help and we're going to help them. Some of them, I'm dealing with the case here. No, I'm not going to disclose much, but it's some guys from Zimbabwe. Okay, no, I can't disclose this until Kimutola that guy, but I'm looking for a Zimbabwean guy or appealing his brothers and sisters, because Baba tlo khutlela hae ba lo iketsetsa di business. So when they started collecting money, amongst themselves, they grouped themselves and collected money so that they can go back home. So ba shapile this guy nkile chelete aba shapa, so ba matla and mo country ya rona this guy. So I'm busy tracing that guy hona, because I'll be happy if all of these people ba khona ba thole chelete ba tsamaya ba high. It's minusing some of the se mothokazi.
No bomthwakazi
Ke eng mothokazi?
Mthwakazi ke amandebele aseZimbabwe.
I think so. I don't know his background handle, but I know his whereabouts. It's just a matter. I think I'm sitting on 80%.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We'll disclose it. We'll talk about it off camera.
Yes.
So, okay, here's the thing. I want us to talk about what do you think, why, let me just say why do you think Xolani was treated that way, and do you suspect deliberate hand by subs? Number two is political parties like Action SA and Patriotic Alliance do what you guys do, including Xolani. Any chances of working together? We are going to 2026 local government elections, and at some point when Ntandla declared that you guys do not want to participate in politics, I was worried, because how are you going to advance what you want to advance if you don't want to contest state power? And I'm glad you have formalized, even though the process last year you couldn't make it. Yeah, you are not the only ones. And it's so the body the ropa the list the fake the list to go into IEC. But 2021 is coming. Just talk about the politics of all of these things and close it for me.
So Xolani Khumalo, they wouldn't have helped him, because issue Xolani Khumalo, we all know hore he involved bomang and all this, so never vele. But today, through Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, we got all the answers. I mean, there's a show called Ex Deport that's playing Komoja Love. The police are literally denying Hutusa, with dealing with. So, ikare how toucha the drugs, toucha tabayama foreigner. You're on the wrong side, and you will be sidelined, and they'll make sure they deal with you decisively. So, Xolani tabaya hai, I'm sure Limolingteng today, he's happy because why he's being denied help. The likes of Action SA, PA, yes, by Bua Tabayama foreigner, but
no action.
Aye, man. Bayetsi batho bana, man. You know, they can scream all
Yes.
loud. Or mabahambe,
Yeah.
Ibile actually say yona is iwes ge.
Yeah.
I bua the way, you know, the reason why patriots never rata
Mashaba.
Ndate Mashaba is because at that time, I think it was 2020 or during COVID, ona ibua this thing yama foreigner hore ha ba batle jwang and
Hijack
how he
buildings.
wanted to clean the cities and all that, but he toned down and he like drastically he toned down even his own members ba bona le bona or ai ntate ka go tonile down. But hey, as batho ba strata o tshwana le rona re batho ba strata. You
Sure.
can call us all names, but rona we do things, we make things happen. Habayo ko strateng, but we understand maybe I don't know, maybe ki culture ya bona ke re each and every house has their own culture, maybe ki culture ya bona eo. On the other hand, PA, I don't like talking about PA, hey. I'm sure you would have known, you'd know that we voted with them last year for national ballot. I get
Now you were cut out.
Yes, we were cut out.
Yes.
And we were allowed to do Gauteng, Limpopo, and what's the other province? Western Cape. So, Hanzo Lijwala and Rabono Ekare lose at this battle because we even went to constitutional court because Rona we had a strong belief Hore, we did things right. We had all the proof. I mean, what more proof do you want? Go want a screenshot Hore. System ya how had a glitch 25 minutes past 4. I send you a screenshot to show you that this is what I wanted to do and I'm doing it at that time. I push an email to IEC to say, help me. I've been battling with this thing for an hour. I paid everything. I submitted some other things, but at the final stage, system ya how ya crasha. Help me. We phoned. We sent all the proof that we can, but because vele no tshwanetse ba re ntse gaming and they won. So we did things at the last minute because we thought we win at this case and we would be on the national ballot. But unfortunately, we lost the case and we now started engaging different parties because there was UDM, there was Patriotic Alliance, and other people suggested PA, Action SA, you know, so we had different options. But most of our members, because Rona, we listen. I get we are leading people, but Tonto Mamele Batur Baring.
Yes.
They felt very strong where we needed to go only PA because PA ibua language ya rona. Ne? And the vele at that time, neba ibua vele language ya rona. And they felt strong hore. Let's vote with PA. Give PA the powers. And then we went to PA, Rabua Libona. And you know, we had that agreement. I think the biggest mistake was that we trusted them and we had that gentleman agreement. But Neritsama Ali, one of our legal team, there's a patriot when we sealed this thing to say, you know what, we're voting with you. So with every 10 seats that we get, you give Dudula 1. 5 seats, you give Dudula 1. We get 10 seats, you give Dudula 2. It was an agreement. We were all happy because the ground was fertile. We went on national television. We announced we are voting with Patriotic Alliance. I mean, the world was happy. I mean, the country was happy. Okay, at least they're collaborating, and you know, everyone is excited. Though it happened on a Sunday, few days before elections, and there was just that confusion. Gauteng, they must vote Dudula. In other provinces, 3 provinces must be Dudula, and then national ballot, PA. But also remember, the previous elections nearly
three.
Exactly
Mixed masala.
nearly mixed masala, and people were confused. Where's Halang? Where do I vote? Babang never saw hope. I remember, you know, my a late mother-in-law, may her soul rest in peace. She just passed on. She even called us in to say that akiboni Dudula because unatori the ballot paper say 2 telling her vela re and then more like she was confused. So people went to go and vote PA
all over
through all ballots. But here we were happy because we thought we were working together. After elections, Babalia, some of them changed numbers. re kopane le Kenny in a funeral ko Bloemfontein. He literally left the funeral ha re bona. So till today, because every time when you try to engage them, they're like, we'll come back, we're busy, what. But we've learned, okay, they will not do it. And we left it as is. But we a media briefing to, actually talk about our relationship, because when we had a joint thing, we went on public, public, or we are working together. That's why today you'd see them posting on the social media platforms, PA and Dudula. It's not like that. They've done us wrong. And for me, I want to remove them completely, because they lied to communities. People were happy because of our relationship, but they ruined all of that, because I feel scam these guys. Today they no longer talk about Mabahambe Eyabon. You only see that one lady, Victoria Africa. She's a patriot, that one. I can safely say she's in the wrong space. She deserves to be somewhere better with, people that will allow her to fly, because she's good, that lady. She's always been working with us. But yeah, we will not have joint operations, Libona really too. Yes, maybe highly something that involves everybody. Yes, but to say that PA and Dudula, there is no more relationship. So we won't work with them. And unfortunately, we're going to fight our own battle, because we know how to do it, and we've always done it the best way we know how. I mean, we've just partnered Profs, a professional of unity in South Africa. They are a group of professionals, the doctor, the lawyer and advocates, attorneys, So they're also trying to help us look at the case. So we're not just going to be fighting on the streets. We are taking these matters to justice. Though, system yaruna is messed up. Justice, we don't have judiciary in this country. It's being controlled by somewhere out there. We don't know who, but it's been controlled. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi had also revealed that today. Modi chatting the checker, the minister and the judge, a lot has happened. So the judge, before the judgment, they must consult with somebody, and he's got that. He told us, there is proof. I don't know if I'm proof, but I think he was ready to give it to the media. So we might see those evidence. I don't know. I think today we might see those evidence. But the justice system, it's just broken. Everything in this country is broken, because we don't have leaders. And I'm hoping that youth will rise. We need better people in that parliament. It'll take this country forward. We can't just be led by Bonkhoni. They must go take care of their grandkids. We're not saying they bad people, but have a space so that they can run with this thing. Because that's what we are fighting for.
2026 elections.
Yes.
You've got lessons learned last year. All your ducks are in a row. You were number one on your list as the president, right?
Sure.
What municipalities are you targeting? What metros are you targeting? What district municipality? Where do you think you are strong? And what are your strategies? I tell political parties that, for instance, don't go and campaign in nice time. You're just going to waste your resources. Yeah. Where do you feel more strongly, and how are you going to run these elections?
So we had a meeting. So we always consult again. Even before we became a political party, we had a consultative conference to ask people, because there was a whole lot of noise. Let's become a political party. No, we're okay as a civic. Because civic, we were arrested. And this thing, like we just spoke about it, you can't fight this battle, Ulikamontle.
True.
It's not like, in other countries where civic movements are strong. Country. More South Africa, politics are the strongest than civic. So we had to migrate to being a political party, because that's what the conference resolved. And yes, we became a political party, and obviously along the way, Babang Batamaile, because they belonged to other political parties and they the staunch members of those political parties. But we still operate as a civic, because when we're on the ground, we go as civic. That we are very hard on civic. So the unfortunate part of it is that we had to register being a political party because IEC would not accept us as a civic movement. But if we had that option, we would have remained as a civic, but we had to become a political party. So we're going to target places, they've been left out. And yes, Gauteng, we are very strong in Gauteng. I think it's because it's where Dudula was born. And Limpopo, parts of Limpopo and Western Cape, Haul. So we're not going to take every metros, though there's that hype, I know. People are saying, so some people don't even know that Dudula is a political party. There's that hype, please, open a political party so that we can vote for you guys. We want that. And they carry a spread at this thing. But we will be directed by communities because we don't have a secular to say that you must tell us, if you want to become a councillor or you have a person that you want to nominate as a councillor, come forward. Let's check we'll do our background checks and then we'll support and then you can have your... So we're going to choose. We won't just take everything. We're going to choose some certain municipalities, but definitely the metros, some of Gauteng, we're going to take all of them. The body... what do you call them? Sidibeng and all that. So we're going to take all of them. But in some other provinces, so you don't, I'm sure you will not see us go Orania, go Tinga Orania. So we're going to choose our battles wise so that riskaba all over because we have limited resources. So you would know that Operation Dudula haina defunda. So we're funding our own movement. Everybody owns a child high from Kopotlenya High and contributes towards the organization. By the way, I'm sure at Zibalwena Horba Regilady million. Yes,
people are saying you guys are taking money.
Yes. So we've always funded this movement. Runa, by the way, we're entrepreneurs. And now since Runali Dudula nze kwala, yes, more tolang mesebetsi ya rona ke di comrade but dila jwalo.
Sure.
So nze kwala, but we try to make means. I mean, we funded this organization from birth till date. If we can count our bank statements personally, myself and Kruger, I'm sure Dudula got millions because we have invested so much on it. How na Rupeto refang chelete?
Would you take it if he offers?
I'm not sure. You know the reason why Risabatli chelete elang je? It's because Harbato Hochiwa kanko. Rona re batla iketsetsa ntho re batlang. If Rupeto tlo tla a re fe chelete, tlo batla re tone it down. And tlo re fa di akere chelete teng tshwantse e tle di conditions. So but if there's a patriot who says, you know what, I'm a millionaire or I'm a billionaire, but I want to support this cause because I feel this is the only vehicle that can take us forward as a country. We're giving you money with no conditions, just push this agenda. We will gladly accept it. So we're not going to just go out and take any monies. So we've been doing well, though it's been hard. You can imagine running an organization that's not everyone answered the 20 rands. And I must appreciate our members because they've been doing that tirelessly. Babang haba sebetse most yabona, but every little cent about tolang har operation go plekeng so they go. It's because of the love of the country that they have, and we must really acknowledge batho ba tshwanang le bao.
Thank you. The last question is, you said you do not have funders.
Yeah.
Have you ever declared, and if you are made to declare, do you think your books will indicate as such?
Yes. Now we have been transparent. Yeah. In such a way, in some of our meetings, Renalo print our bank statements.
Ensure. And,
take the treasurers of different regions or branches, or scrutinize the bank statement so that you must see it yourself and go out there and tell the people what you have seen. So that's what we do. But really, a lady who handles all of that process, or to Sanangli Kruger, because Kruger is our treasurer general. So ki CA, so she does that. But the statement but colleague will just make sure she reconciles and give feedback to everyone. But we are transparent.
Sure.
This thing, I know I was here the other day. I'm not sure if it was here or another platform, telling people hey, we've lived, we never before Dudula, and all of these things.
Yes.
It was way before Dudula. So,
Sure.
but I don't know if maybe or what. I want to change it. It's a big thing, but we don't encourage but into the wrong. That's why I go to Dudula. We had solid proof. You're biting to the wrong. And if maybe ulata the Pakistani and we deal with you decisively, because more the criminals fix a country.
I'm gonna throw random questions and then you answer short answers. Ne?
Sure.
2026 come, you are approached, you either a kingmaker or something in any municipality. Who are these people that you might work with? Democratic Alliance, can you?
No.
Okay. Economic freedom fighters, can you work with them?
Definitely not, because of their policy when it comes to immigration.
Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, could you work with them?
They're dilly-dally, those people. Stand up for if I can be honest to you, I don't know what is it that they stand for. I know Amanyama Party, what is it that they stand for, but I don't know what is it that they stand for. Maybe until I understand I just hear them talking about Ubaba. They are followers of Ubaba. But honestly, yes, they've got numbers. But they've just wasted Amavotu. They're sitting outside Parliament. They're not contributing to anything as much, because they don't count, because at times they don't even vote because they feel they're not part of the GNU, what. So I'm not sure. Maybe Ngabo will cross the bridge when you get there.
Okay. Patriotic Alliance is still sour?
It's still sour. Maybe in a long run it will. But Patriotic Alliance, they now together in bed with the ANC and strong Futi. We've been fighting Gutu Ramaphosa Asuke because he's not helping us, he's not prioritizing us as South Africans. And then you'd find Gayton, that he will protect him with everything that he has. Yes. So it's a mess. It's a mess.
Action SA? Mashaba's Action SA.
Yeah, Mashaba, we could work with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
ACDP?
ACDP, yeah, we could. Though, because Nababeko strong, Gakulu, but they're not bad.
IFP?
IFP, we could work with them because of the policy of immigration. They're working like Nabo. They, just like us, they are anti-foreigners, so we would definitely work with them. You choose parties because of their policies. What is it that they stand for? And you can only work with parties that talk your language. Like, yes, Patriotic Alliance, Ibua language, but they might not even come back, those guys. Maybe by the time we're in Parliament, they won't be there.
Hey, as I close, my share correct. We finally got her. She spoke for herself, she spoke for the organization. I don't know what you feel. Why didn't you ask her that? Ask them those comments, they will be glad to answer it. Tainted President, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Commander.
Thank you very much. Tainted, Ola.